In the previous episode,
You have us.
the words startled her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. Now kiss. Hello everybody, welcome back. In the previous episode, everybody is safe, everybody's happy, well everybody's not happy, but everybody is alive and well, and that's all that matters. Right now everyone is culminating their knowledge into one big shared blob. Let me backtrack so that it makes a bit more sense. Dread the fear, their logic be damned, what is Belle and I would like to believe, even as okay. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness is falling, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head and the sheets of paper I've been holding smack the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoed loudly in the small room and everyone simply falls silent, along with it a relative release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's an odd thing to hear from her, the very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very true, Zach.
Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean-Marie.
But if we're going to include all of them in this count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Maybe there's more than one of it. Even my friend, the priest from the cathedral. He's been acting strangely.
Father Norman? Him too?
Yeah, I visited him a few days ago. He was hysterical. They think he's sick, but I have a feeling what might the real cause be.
I knew it. I shouldn't have asked for his help.
He was only trying to help too. It's not your fault. There might be more than one of that paper going around that we don't know about. More to this. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrow with each line they pass, but lingers at the illustration of the noblewoman servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. So I was talking about how long Ash's branching tree is. Well, it seems as though it's going quite quickly. All we have to go is with this mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Somehow, even with all of this information in hand, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. At present, everything seems to point to where all of this started. The Ermengarde mansion. Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's private property now. We can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before even thinking of begging a right to let me in and investigate the plates. One thing's very clear after all these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act as if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. I mean, Zach, it's pretty close to Hannah. Yeah. And Becca's pretty close to Luke. Sooner or later, she'll get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed, time to let everything sink in or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few.
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the three of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the four of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked, they waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella's unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person, I'm not even sure this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach to close it.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. I bet it's Baruthia. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. Everyone, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then, I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening. A foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears and my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend it. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes, the gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores into me, I'll say, the look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught, this is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wail she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading everyone out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal to the second largest person. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salem well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Sunday, October 30th. With the help of his friends, Ashton tried to find a way to free themselves of the curse, piecing together what they currently know, but before they could figure it out, a ruckus coming from Isabella's closet broke the silence of the room. October 31st, Monday. This is the furthest we've ever gotten, day-wise. You see? A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. I don't believe that. Although it doesn't last more than an hour. Okay, there we go. The dark clouds lift just after the sun peaks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged out his own eyeballs and almost ate it. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact, lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on the cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state of my mind. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface, scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I love how that's a story update. I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better, say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark... There's a lot of story updates going on. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting and about how I reek and how I need a shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins and my desperation is to survive. I read that wrong. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle and that horrid smell she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory's enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off Ophelia's surface. Normally, I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxmore police regulations only allow authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have the authorization, but I never really saw the need for its use when the standard issued tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid have its uses too. On a ghost, though, all of those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. I mean, no one's ever tried touching her yet, have they? Like, she's touched them, but they've never tried touching her. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, of what little bit I can gather from it. The awareness that I at least have something to protect myself with in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off, though, the feeling that your whole body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me through right now is knowing someone is still depending on me. A stretch is still in order, though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out of my car, closing it behind me with a thud as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxmore normal in the distance, beyond the buildings, lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in. Wait, where's everybody else? Are they not also in the car?
A storm might be due this evening, give or take.
Wednesday. Is November 1st going to be a storm, like a dark and stormy night? Of course it is. A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale, breathing in, taking in the peace as if it'll be my last. But, as with all good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them. Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. Oh, okay, so he was just waiting for them. After last night's fight in Salem, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us have gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them for a group of friends on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks, something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not the knee-deep in a life and death situation the way they're acting now. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mark. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zack tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce I drizzled over this pork wannabe... is it pork wannabe or pork wannabe? It smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. Can I just say, if they went to a supermarket, that would definitely not be a thing in the UK. The rest of them appear to be in the same mind too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I miss these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project at work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. The world has an awful sense of humor. While the one thing we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from this damn curse, I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse, name of the game, sorry. It's not that simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look at me as if my face has the answer in the world. I used to think so back when I was at the top of my game and I was still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. Ooh. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter. You were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have...
Hey, you two! None of us want to die to this. Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and both you and Ashton...
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now, you're throwing it back at us. We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh no, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already.
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough! Everyone, shut up!
They all falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add that kindling, not in a moment, any time, anywhere she might get one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are playing the blame game. Little by little, we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen, to divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything is possible now if her kind can exist. Wow, ghostism. With the fire burning between us, rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth, that out of everyone I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more their forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Monday, October 31st. After spending the night at what was that? After spending the night at the local park, Ashton and his friends tried to figure out what their next step will be. However, coupled with fatigue and stress, the conversation quickly went downhill. Frustrated, Ashton walked out, suggesting they cool their heads first. Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. Were those flowers always underneath that fountain, or am I going cuckoo bananas? If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I am angry at. The ghost, at them, or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit, they're still counting on me. In spite of my failures or every harsh word I've uttered or how unbearable I can be as a friend, it's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car that's filled to the brim with paperwork. It's in the concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet it's the one I'm more than willing to carry, even though my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, they're the ones I have left. Oh, I'll keep going for a little bit longer. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at the ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't stepped a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. Or as safe as it can be with G security watching the place. It makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. I mean, most of the time in the UK pub, security just comes out after like 6 PM or something. Most of the time there isn't security at the beginning, is it? The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G, or just G, to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges, sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of the city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well. Oh, I see the bar on the right. Did I see it? Also, there's a Sleepy Sheep Inn. They should go there. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor, cares to some extent for people he's likely only seen once or twice a week on a bad day. Not the best job in the world in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine there is truth. Alcohol in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down, whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too, always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for help when I'm met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. They had a nap in the back of a pub. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter's surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, like prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me once I claim one of the empty stools and grabs a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow, turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to keep my hands occupied while my brain's busy still trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made it a trip or sat here on the same spot just talking with the old man, I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet oddly, it's a nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time. Along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses, even more bizarre is that through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth is curved up into a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of them, he wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work, rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat, going through the motions with such familiarity it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. one solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? Especially if my assumptions are correct and the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse too? You'd think they would have talked about that last night when they were culminating their information. It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry the right way, and if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here, there are others. What happened to us, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how much complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, name the game, the woman, the mansion, and now there are the voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, memories that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
It's because you did this.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and of all of those who I failed. At some point they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it back as far as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. Deluge? 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 And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let it go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people after all, even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I spent in the force, there's only one other person who's as keen as his old guy, the chief. Don't they have the same voice actor? Funny and weird to some degree. I've pointed it out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clear it's something he doesn't want to talk about. You think they're brothers? Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head, no.
I heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed the one from 10 years ago with your professor friend.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Oh, Abigail's the other detective.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really, I can use some right now, something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslum?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping prior back to the rack on his left, all while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I'd been put in the same position. Flashback. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in, the idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who haven't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt like the first time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare where the only way out might be death. And like I've expected, G's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself, can't even muster the energy for a scowl or a glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, all right, good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind used for shots and stemmed ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that, if the wistful expression on him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be?
No, I don't think so. This one? Screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure. Making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stopped calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels. From both of us as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. Though before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silverware. Monday, October 31st. After the argument at the park, Ashton took his friends someplace where they could rest. G welcomed them to his pub without question. While the others were sleeping, the detective and the bartender had a little chat about the past and what had changed over the years. He'll need those two once more of his patrons come in for lunch. Slow and easy, a sharp contrast with the strained air we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but one I allow myself to relish, if only because of its absence lately. The way things are now, this is almost a gift. So when all of it ends with a loud shuffling of foot from the adjacent hallway, a sight is all that leaves me. There is no need for me to look up to know who it is. Zach's treads alone are telling. There's always a weighted set to them, steps that are taken with a lazy cadence. Like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In a place he's unfamiliar with, he also tends to linger, stand awkwardly at the sides as if he's also too afraid to break something. That or he's waiting for permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind of barrel head first into things or forego courtesy despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother, Henning, believes her fiery temperament or Isabella's rare displays of maturity appears at odds with her youth. Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel as though there are a lot of microaggressions in how this is read, but I don't know if that's just me. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems, more so from the people I've grown closer to over the years. Walking contradictions we all are, it's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place. But maybe that's also exactly why, to some extent, there's still an understanding in there in knowing that no matter how long you've been together, or how familiar you are with the person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you, one can never fully know a person. Sometimes it works because they merely chose to stay. Sometimes it is simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology regardless of every hurtful word said.
Hey. Hey, Ash?
We're gonna end the episode here. I was trying to find an appropriate place to end it, but this has almost been 40 minutes, which is my bad. I kept thinking that would be a good place to end, but hey Ash, we'll end with bye Zach. Thank you everybody for joining me. I will see you all in the next episode. Side note for everybody who wants to see the branching tree. So it started, when I started the episode, we were like here. And needless to say, it has gotten quite far. We're almost halfway now. So I'm assuming there are probably going to be 3 more episodes for Ash. And then I'm assuming there'll probably be like 10 episodes for Luke. I might make the episodes longer purely because I want to finish the series before the new year. Which is crazy to say. But yeah, everybody have a wonderful evening. And I will see you all in the next episode. Kisses, bye bye.